see if I can figure this out here. There's this engineer trying to figure out PowerPoint. All right. This slide's potentially left blank. Okay. This is to remind me on a couple of things. So usually we have a presentation just like this. We have networking afterwards, but tonight you guys are in for a real treat. Last month our topic was how to rehab for big profit. We had 3 experienced rehabbers who were right here sitting in front, where you guys got a chance to ask questions, learn from them, because each one does their business a little differently. And would you agree that getting things from different perspectives can help you out? That way you can decide what's best for you on your situation and how you want to operate your business, okay? So tonight our topic is buy and hold. And we have 2 experienced experts who are buy and hold gurus from many, many years ago. And they still own a lot of properties to this day. And they're very humble individuals, all right? So the first person I'm going to bring on board, bring here to the front, is Mr. Tim Mine. Give a round of applause, okay? We have 1 chair right there for you. Please have a seat. Okay. So for me, when I sit down or stand, I still look the same height, right? All right. And another individual, a very humble individual, I got a chance to meet a few years ago, Mr. Ben Lin. Give a round of applause, okay? And by the way, guys, can I disclose something, okay? Because we're all going to have a good time tonight, all right? I have a lot of friends. We have a very diverse group. But there is no conspiracy that all the people in the front here are all Asian. It's just the way things went, okay? All right. So, each one of these individuals have a model that they follow, and they have things that they follow. So I want to ask them real quick individually, share a little bit about their background, what they've been able to achieve, how long it took, and where they're at right now. So let's go ahead and start Mr. Tim Mine.
Okay, thank you. I came to the U.S. in 1980, and I spent 35 years as IT professional, and I quit my professional 2 years ago, and to be active retired and fully engaged in real estate investment until this day. So that briefly, in 86 I bought the first home to live. In 87 I bought the second home. In 89, I bought the third one. By 2008, and you know the event of 2008, I still own 2 rentals, fully paid. In 2015, I own 20 rentals. By 2016, I own 32 rentals, which is today. And the last one I just bought yesterday from Mr. Perry, the one who sold that to me yesterday.
Right. So 32 units today.
Wow.
And do you have any problems with being too poor?
Very good question. No, I don't. My full life I engage in one principle, which is to be financial independent. I spent 35 years as IT professional. But my side is to have something on my own, so one day I don't have to depend on someone. Okay, and that's what I achieved to this day.
Great. IT professionals, there's hope for you. All right, Mr. Ben, go ahead.
I'm always bored. Lots of time. Reason I got into real estate, 1996, Halloween, I was rear-ended by a drunk driver. And not too serious, but serious enough, I have to go to the chiropractor 2 or 3 times a week. And during that time, could not sleep in the middle of the night, infomercial, Charlton sheets at the time was the rate. So I decided to make a huge investment of $200 because at the time, actually, until now, I'm still very frugal. And I decided to buy that material for $200 and to see, well, no money down and all these tricks and all this approach, whether it will work, and I bought it, and it won't apply to me because at the time I was running a small company, my own company. But one thing led to another, that I realized, well, I really need to have something because at the time, my company, I'm the only sales. I travel 7 months out of the year, trying to get a business, go to the trade show, exhibit in the trade show. Work 16 to 18 hours a day, no weekend. So that was the time I was building my business. fortunately, that accident happened in October. I have a 2 season. I was the importer, so January and July, they are my 2 seasons. If the accident happened during that 2 period of time, I would have been out of business. So fortunately, it was like that, and that brought me into thinking, well, I need to have something that I don't have to work and I have income. So by the time, NEM was not a meetup organizer, there's no meetup, there's no meeting. You ask around, all your friends told you the most horrible story about the business. So I said, well, but how come, I heard all these successful people to manage hundreds of properties, and how did they make it? So what I did was, I over-consider myself as an overeducated redneck. So I have 2 advanced degrees, MBA, that kind of things. But when I run my import business, that's totally useless. And when I go to the real estate, whatever I learn has nothing to do with all these advanced degrees. So I need to learn from the ground up. So I say, well, I spend each credit, each course, 3-4 credits, and you spend thousands of dollars. So I decided, I just went to the border, I went to the Barnes & Nobles, and I bought several $100 of books, starting to learn how the successful people can make it. So I was extremely chicken. So I think I was the, I am still the most chicken investor to date. I was extremely careful. So from October 1996, it took me 1 year and 2 months to buy the first property. And then in the very beginning, I want to do everything. I bought a condo in Woodbridge. And the condo was relatively new because at the time I was running a company, so I had 3 criteria that need to meet me. The property I bought, number 1, it has to be within 30 minutes of where my office was and my home is.
So that's his criteria, 30
number
minutes.
1. Number 2, it has to be less than 10 years old. 10 years old. Number 3, at the time I used 2 approaches. During the late 90s, I don't know whether Tim remember, there are a lot of VA and hard foreclosure. So every down cycle, every up cycle, we have a different situation happen. At the time was savings and loan crisis, so there's lots of foreclosure, and VA and HUD had lots of things. So I need to have a criteria of, if I buy something, I need to make sure it makes enough money. So I don't just look for positive cash flow. At the time, the VA properties, I only bought foreclosure at the time. Out of lots of properties I bought, I only bought VA and half foreclosure. I didn't buy any, with the exception of 1, I didn't buy any other regular property. So VA at the time has a wonderful deal because at the time VA, they manage their own property, so you just put up 10% and sometimes 5%. You can buy a property and they give you the VA loan for free and there's no mortgage insurance. So for anything that I need financing, at the time I was looking for at least 3 times of the CD rate. At the time interest rate was about 5 to 6 1-year CD. So at the time I was looking for at least 18 if I bought in cash from the hot auction. I literally go to the hot auction and then just bid. For VA, for the finance deal, I need at least 25%. That means if I put something, anything I finance, in 4 years I need to get my money back. But VA deal was such a good deal because what it did was, even you pay 5% or 10%, they will give you 3% closing assistance, they will give you all these things. And so by the time your out-of-pocket money was very, very tiny. And since all my properties are under 10 years old, so almost nothing need to be done other than painting. So I got a taste of it in 1997, December, I bought the first one. Then after that, I bought 1 a year until 2001. No, 1 a month. So I started to get VA at the time, they have a cap of 8. So I talked with my ex-girlfriend, okay, you hold it under your name, and a few years later, give it back to me. And I just bought. So average, I bought 1 house a year, a month. Basically in the late 90 until 2000, and then 2001, and then 2000 I decided to be permanently, no, originally I was trying to take a few years off because in 2000 at the time, something happened and suddenly I reached my financial goal a little bit ahead of what I thought I would have reached. So it was much earlier, but because of that, I become a little bit, don't know how to handle myself, try to make myself more important than I really was. And as usual, you know, then I had a problem with my relationship and all these things. So I was tired, and especially I've been working for 15, 18 hours a day, never have a vacation. So late 1999, starting 2000, I decided, okay, I'm going to take a few years off. And so literally I say, well, I just broke up. Money seems to be okay because rental income is okay. So I decided to date. So it took me 4 years, then I did nothing but dating, yes. So it's true, my wife is there. I think, and then eventually, anyway, long story short, I literally lived in Russia for 3 years. So I went every single month. And
So
then,
you date your wife?
Yes, eventually, yes. In the very beginning, it's very hard to find sympathetic person, you know, that would like me. So at the time, she has some vision problems. So anyway, so I got. So that's the background. And now let me tell you. So I told you already about 3 times CD for the cash, and then 25% on the finance deal. Eventually, up to 2004, after I got married, you know, before married, because you're dating, so your life is very different. You're not bored, you're busy all the time. And then after you got married, and then suddenly we don't work, so we are 24/7 together. Believe me, if you're married, 24/7 together is not that easy, especially for somebody who cannot sit still like me. And so 2004, I started to find, okay, let's find something to buy. So I was researching almost every business possible, trying to buy business, because I feel like at the time I was young, so I feel like I was too young to retire, and we look into whatever, trucking company, you know. But at the end, with my background, I think mortgage company was the best. Long story short, at the end of my training, I passed everything. I was absolutely no problem handling mortgage company, but at the time, I think in the mortgage business, you know, in the mid-2000, basically, you know, negative equity, you know, no money down, all these deal, and I was like, wow, this is really, I cannot do that. You know, I cannot honestly tell my friend to do this kind of deal, especially, oh, you're a dishwasher. I happen to know when during training they are processing a loan. It was in Rockville when I did the training. The guy was a dishwasher in a Chinese restaurant, and he was buying $800,000 home in North Potomac. Because the mortgage broker told him that, oh, you don't need money, you know, and actually, you know, after these few years, you don't need to worry. So, and he was washing dishes, and he was excited. He just got his green card. Yeah, $800,000, wow, dream home, and I don't even need to pay for like whatever amount of time, and it's negative amortized. So I said, wow, I cannot do that. And then so I kind of use my, because when you are not working, you watch the news, you analyze things, you try to find something, and then I come to my property and I find out, wow, my property has, because during the late 90s, they have appreciated a lot. So I calculated every single property I own equivalent to more than 20, even 30 years of profit I make from my rental property without having to manage the tenants.
And how many units at that time?
At the time was 43.
43.
Yeah. So starting 2000, so I told my wife, I say, well, something doesn't smell right. I didn't know what, it just doesn't sound right. So what I did was I say, let's sell. So 2005, I started to sell the property, and one by one, I get my tenant to move out. So by the end of 2007, I sold 34 properties. And for example, let me give you my formula. the way I calculate at the time was, say, if I have property and the net income per month was, let's say, put it easier this way. Say, after the mortgage and everything, if it's $5,000 a year I would make for the property. At the time, actually, closer to $8,000 to $10,000 per property. Probably $10,000 more likely because I keep raising the rent. $10,000 at a time. And so if I can make $200,000, 20 years, and without managing the property, I would sell it. And almost every property I own, and now we own, meet that criteria. So what I did was I started to sell, and then bang, 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 bang. I sold 34 of them, and then the last one was actually my tenant, and I knew, my contractor living one of my property, and I knew if I don't give him job, he probably cannot pay the rent because I basically booked him for, actually from the beginning to the end, I basically used him full time for 8 years. And so I decided, I offered him, okay, so please. So that was the last one I sold, and I made least on that one because 2008, I can feel the market already started to check. So what I did was, okay, I sold 35. And I had lots of cash, but I cannot, because based on my criteria, there's no way I could reinvest at the time, because after 2001, none fit my criteria because I do have a very strict criteria. So after 2001, I didn't.
So you held on to the cash for a while?
Yeah. And then, so I can probably say, even though I'm chicken, I have never lost money in real estate.
So how about you want to be a chicken?
Because it has to meet that criteria. Right. Otherwise, I don't touch. But in our area, after 2001, it's just impossible to get that money. So what I did was, I started to diversify. I bought a lot of original arts. I got into gold. I got into precious metal things. And so, however, there are 8 properties at a time, no matter what happened, because I know if I keep these 8 properties, and what I did was I just paid them off, and then so 8 property free and clear probably will maintain my lifestyle forever, because that will enough to support myself, my family, and my wife's family, and at the time I was paying my niece and nephew tuition too, college. So that would be enough to cover all those 8 properties, and then I have a 6-figure income from my interest.
You guys hear that?
So
6-figure income from
but
interest on the cash.
Anyway, what happened was but that didn't last long because what happened was our economy got into such a tailspin. Fed started to lower the rate. The rate keep going down, and so I had no choice. So back in 2009, we went back. So we bought some more to kind of, because, but the reason we need that was, starting 2006, in order not for me to make stupid mistake, because I cannot sit still, so I have all this cash suddenly I never had before, and we have like, at the time, because FDIC is only insured 100,000 per account. So I have LLC, my wife, me, and then each account, and we have like 12, 13 banks. You need to put the money everywhere in order to get that, FDIC insured. They only went to 250, so that's much better. And of course, they also have new products. Anyway, we don't get into that. Just telling you. But I know if I stay there and I reinvest, I would have been burned. But so in order to literally save money, we start traveling. And that's the reason.
Save money, you start traveling.
No, honestly, because my wife knows, we stay at home, I would buy arts, and it would cost so much money. And then you would like auction, you were bidding, and then, So it was, we spent a lot of money, and then I still keep buying art until our home is totally like saturated with no space. And then now we have probably 100 original arts in the closet. But it's just a part of diversify. One day you are in the landlord buy and hold situation, that's what you do. You diversify because at the time, if the market is not good, you buy it in. And I've been collecting art for quite a while, but when I was a professional, I was like a middle upper level manager, and I was living McLean 22101 zip code, and then I have a very impressive title. I paid the mortgage, I paid the utility, I paid all the debt at the end of the month. I have nothing left. So So anyway, I would rather to be an overeducated redneck than in a position with a good title. So I hope I don't take up too much time, but what we did was we started traveling in 2006. So starting 2006 until now, we go to at least 20 countries a year. So that's the reason most of the time we're out.
And that's outside North America.
Yeah, just out of the country.
So not Canada, or even Maryland, right?
So this time we happen to be here. So
It all worked out.
yeah. So that's the process. And my advice to the new people who want to come in, I would like to tell you, if you're looking for something you can control, something steady, buy and hold is for you. And if you have bad credits, I think if you have good credits and you're willing to work on it, like use Nam's approach, the refinance, or even the refinance cash out approach, buy and hold is for you. And if you have bad credit and you don't have any cash, this is not for you, unfortunately. But if you have good credit, you're willing to, or you have money, either you have credit or you have money, it's a workable deal. But what I would like to, things that I think will work for me, the most important thing was to buy right. To buy right. How do you know it's buy right? Sometimes people doing the hard money lending on the flip side, and then they always say, well, this deal is so good, how come I cannot get any hard money lender to work with me? Even the very creative one, that means your deal is not good enough. Because if your deal is good enough, many hard money lenders will even go in and try to partner with you. So that is the criteria, is buy right. So what you wanted to determine is what is the percentage you want when you buy a property. And I can tell you that personally, I'm not a very social person, so you never see me network. If I go to a meeting, I always sit all the way in the back. The meeting ends, I will leave. So you probably never see me. And then, so if you are a little bit lazy, you can handle boredom, and I'm not joking. It's not easy to be not doing something 24/7 for a long time. But if you can handle that, buy and hold is for you. So buy right is the most important. Figure out, not just the percentage. To me, just the positive cash flow, unfortunately, is not enough. I need to have a certain amount of money, and also I need to have the cash. Maybe after you do all this refinance, you put very little cash, but if your profit is only a couple $100, I'm not sure it's motivated me enough to manage this property until the property will appreciate, because you don't know when it will appreciate. So when I buy, I don't assume the property will appreciate. I don't take the tax depreciation as factor into the calculation. I don't. I just do hardcore cash on cash.
Actual.
Yeah. So, and I want to have enough cash, because all you need to do is one AC system break, one roof has a problem, one eviction, several years. If you don't have enough cash, monthly cash, several years of income is going to be wiped out. Okay, so this is what I would like you to do if possible. When you buy a property, I only use 11 months of income. So if I say, okay, I pay cash, I have 15% I need to get. Cash on cash right now is, because after a while, I don't need to use mortgage anymore. So I use cash on cash, has to be 15, which is very difficult in Northern Virginia. By the way, my experience is only applied in Montgomery County, Fairfax, and Prince William, because and I have some experience in Baltimore, but I'm not going there. It's just totally different things, and then it can be another hours to talk about the market and social situation. So only apply in our area. Usually, if you can get this kind of return, that means you're buying right. Because I never network, I never do deal something. I consider myself a momentum investor. So I only invest when most people are not buying. I sell when most people are selling. But one advantage I have is I always follow the economic indicator. So if I feel not something quite right, because last time, who knows what was credit default swap, which is what brought down the housing market. We didn't know that, but you can feel if a dishwasher can afford $800,000 house, something's not right, and then you do something and then you started looking at your portfolio. And of course, at the time I used mortgage. Now, I think if I can get 15 years of return when you pay everything in cash, when you do 15 years of return, right now I can tell you something's not right. I would like to spend 5 minutes to share this with you. Stock at an all-time high. So how many people think our stock market is very healthy? Okay, first of all, stock market lowest was 70.62 in February 1st, 2009. High, yes, today I think it's 15,496 today. So I calculated earlier, it's a 161% up.
You mean 18,000, right? 17,000, almost 18,000, right? The Dow Jones?
Dow Jones. 18,496, right?
Yeah,
okay.
18.
So 18,496 is 161%. If you are an investor, invest in Dow components, it's 161%. It's not true. Let me tell you, there are many economic indicators. If you are really serious buy and hold and you have too much time and you don't know what to do, you need to look into this indicator. Otherwise, so you can have a better grip of the economy. Dow Jones in 2000, after the market crash, okay, whenever a major factor like GM out of business, you know what they do? They take it out, they put in Apple. Whenever there's the stock not doing well, Bank of America, they put it in because after the market crash, Bank of America took over a lot of. They took over Merrill Lynch and that, so the stock was good. Then they're not healthy, they're deteriorating. They took it out. They took it out of Dow. So from 2009 to 2000 till June 2016, out of the 30 Dow components, that was in 2008. It's only 20 left. So the way they make it sounds like it's growing was they add a 10 highest growth stock back into the Dow Jones. S&P 500 is most investors use it, also a fake indicator, because out of 500, 134 of them has been replaced. Because after the Obamacare, all the healthcare stock come out, so they took out the low like the manufacturing stock, they took it out, 164. Just in the last 2 years, no, 1.5 years since 2015, 50 stock have been matched. And this is what we call election effect, election year effect, like that. Same thing as the unemployment rate. It can be easily cooked. The inflation.
You guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
The inflation rate, it was totally cooked. Okay, inflation rate. We all know everything gets more and more expensive. How come our inflation rate has been only 2%? Because back in 2008, the inflation rate has a different components, and so they use different way of measuring the components. And they take, at the time, the two biggest component in inflation rate was the owner perceived value of their home as a rental. So if they go and ask the owner, how much do you think you can rent your home for? And the owner told you a number, that's number one. Number two, they went to the renter. Hey, how much is you're paying for your rent? How much they increase every year? And that's the two biggest indicator in the U.S. So the consumer price index, which determine the inflation, these two index, what happened was, it was account for about 29.some% back in 2008. Guess what it is today? As of last year, it account for almost 80%. That means because housing market is on the way down, so they make the food, they make the gas, they make the other expenses very, very tiny portion. And they increase the portion of these, because rent is not, if you're a landlord, your rent doesn't really go up too much. And then, so owner also perceive their value went down, so they don't give you too much changes. So they increase that up to 80%. And if you measure the inflation based on these, and then all these, even your food went up 200%. If you see the Briar ice cream, they basically keep the price the same, they shrink in half.
So it's less ounces, right? Same with potato chips, right?
So something not right, and we've been printing money, and then interest rate is near zero, and how come market is still like this, and now if you invest in 2009, I think Tim probably will agree with me. If you buy in 2009, the highest growth category should be real estate. Because if you buy in 2009, just like the stock crash, and you bought in 2009, your stock doesn't really go up that much because the stock doesn't follow the index. But if you follow the real estate in 2009, if you buy anything less than 200,000, I think you will get at least 150 to 250% appreciation already.
That is very true. Probably, I started reinvest in October 2008, which I found out later on that's the bottom period, end of 2008. Probably I bought end of 2008 and early of 2009 around Manassas, which is my territory. It's like some of them got triple.
Wow.
One of them I bought $75,000 single home, typical in Manassas Park. I refinanced this year. The value without any update, no update whatsoever. It went up to $240,000 from 75. But quite a few. So what I found out is the lower it went, the return greater today compared to back then. And some stuff he indicate on your lecture earlier, I use a lot.
Okay.
For example, I don't buy, my shirt is below $200,000 between 2008 and 2014. I buy anything below 200. And my principle is this, I have two principles. The equity return instantly, whether update or without update, have to be greater than 10%. In other words, if I spend $200,000, the market value minimal have to be 220 after I got it. Okay, that's number one. Normally I get 15 all the way up to 100% because some of them I got in 2008. For example, I flipped one property. I got it in for $66,000, and I sold it within 3 months. I updated. I sold for $190. So it's one of the exceptions. Principle number two: the cash flow ROI have to be 10% and more.
Cash on
Okay.
cash, right?
Cash on cash.
Cash on cash.
So that's my principle that I still maintain it to this day. That's how I do buy and hold.
Awesome. Now let's do this real quick, guys. So you guys got a chance to know Tim and Ben. You guys know them well enough now? Yeah. Okay. So who's the dater? Who's the one's gonna write a book on dating? All right. So let's do this for the next 5 minutes or so. Ask any questions that you guys feel that you would need from these two gentlemen, from whatever perspective, whatever you think that they can answer for you, that can help you kind of get over the hump to get started, or maybe to look at something like this in the future. So, any questions about buy and hold for these two gentlemen here?
Let's just have a question.
Yes.
Mr. Ben. You said you went back to invest in 2009, right? Buy properties again?
Yeah.
How many did you buy?
Right now we have 25.
You still hold it?
Yeah, right now we have 25, and then you ask, sometime why don't you finance it? But at the same time, after a while, I know, you go to business school. My first year in MBA, they taught you other people's money is always the key, but they didn't tell you what if anything happened. The headache, how much the headache will you would agree, because to be honest, right now, if I have a vacancy, I don't really need to worry.
Number one.
Yeah, number one, right? We just pay it off, and then when it comes time, because right now the money is really, originally I even hold my home because my home I refi cash out too, but eventually, after 2-3 years, even though the interest is so low, but you put money in the bank, you make almost nothing. So I 5-6 years ago, I also, because in order to take the tax deduction, I would rather just pay tax.
The second part of the question will be, are you planning to sell and when?
Okay, this is a good question. If you probably heard some expert talk about the next crisis, And next crisis most likely is going to be the, I'm not going to go into this because I like to talk about these things. I can talk for hours because I like to analyze the situation, the political situation when we travel, and I pay especial attention on the political influence of the monetary policy. But I will right now. I make a calculation that the property we hold right now probably will give us about 12 to 15 years return. Like if my profit, if I sell it, because also like him, I only buy, lower end properties, and then the profit right now is about 12 to 15 because we got it in at a good time too. So it will be. I'm thinking of maybe 15 years because I never know market will go up or go down. But at the same time, this time what I needed to do is how do I hold the cash if the currency crisis starts? Because if you hold it in dollar, how do I make sure? Originally I thinking about euro, but after Brexit, euro is out. Okay. So monetary policy in many countries is different. So actually recently the ruble has been devaluating more than 50%. So my wife was from Russia originally. So long story short, we now own 3 properties there and we are looking for more. Just purely a currency play because I don't think oil is going to be forever $40 a barrel. So once they come back, I can make a play there, and then probably in a big city like St. Petersburg in Russia, so that's the bet. So that was the diversification of it. I increased my gold holding, but it will be a physical gold. Recently, the gold, actually over a year ago, I diversified into the perfect gold coin, the coin with a GSC 70 rating. I don't know if you are into the gold, the flawless gold coins, maybe gold eagle, mainly, 20 years anniversary eagle, that kind of thing. So a whole bunch of gold coins just physically hold it. So diversifying. So it's a good question, but I don't have so I strictly will go by, if we reach 15, I will start selling some 15 years of profit because now it's difficult to get 20 years. Tim, do you have a approach when you?
Well, what I learned from the crisis from financial expert is this. The reason we had 2007, 2008 crisis because the previous 5 to 10 years, the wages was flat. And every year the real estate market went up what? 10, 15, 5, depend on the location and state, right? The wages of the population in America could not keep up with the high rise of real estate, especially the area we're in, and the foods and medicine, medical, everything else. That's why we had the crisis. Okay? Now, if you listen for the last 8 years or 10 years, since 2008, what do you think? Where are the wages? It's still very much, right? On average. And the market rebounded in 2008, correct? 2008, 2009. That's where we have to watch.
For those who are working for the federal government, when's the last time the federal government got a raise? Federal employees.
That's a reason inflation is mandatorily kept low by manipulating the formula.
Right.
Because once the inflation, they say, oh, I have 3%, 4% inflation, everybody want raise. Right. That would be a.
But this is the good news for all of us who want to invest in buy and hold business. If you follow your formula, whatever that is, you feel comfortable with to protect your investment. In my case, I buy below 200. Okay, so if anything go down, I think I still be able to sustain because I have 30 and 40 properties. So it kind of cover. Okay, make a funny story, but it's true. I have a friend who bought investment property in DC, around Yorktown area, 2-bedroom condos, over $900,000 in 2006. Now, who would buy that property today as investment property? But there was 1,000 people who did that. You know why? Because they're looking for capital return.
Appreciation.
They didn't do that for buy and hold, obviously, right? So if you in this business, today, that's the topic we're talking about. If you have your own formula, set it up to protect your investment long term, I don't think you have to be scared.
Right. And if I could add one thing, this is 2016 now. About 10 years ago, what was happening in the market? What kind of mortgages were available to buyers?
No doubt. Free.
No down, but were they fixed or ARMs?
Arms.
And how many years before they adjusted? 5 or 10. Are we on the 10th year?
Yes.
Will it adjust this year? Will there be a small population of people who could not potentially afford their mortgage? Will we be able to sustain it here in this area because we're a little insulated from the rest of the country? Maybe, maybe not. But that's something as an indicator to look for because people's mortgages will be adjusting this year. Right? Yes?
About the mortgage adjustment, the arms that are adjusting this year, Gary Keller, you might know the name Keller Williams, one of the biggest firms in the world, real estate firms in the world, did the analysis. About 80% of the people who are still under that 10-year arm are underwater in their loans.
Because they bought that high.
They want that high.
So because they're underwater, they adjusted, they can't afford it, they may choose to walk away or they may choose to weather the storm. Depends on, I mean, in this area, maybe it's like because most people in this area have a security clearance and they don't want a bad credit report. Would you agree? So they may, like my sister in Fort Washington, I mean, they have top secret full polygraph, they're underwater, they're still going to pay the mortgage, right? But then there's some people who will walk away if they're not in that situation. All right? So, another question. Any other questions? Yes?
Is there a type of property that you guys find works better for you? And by that I mean single
I was
family
about to you to
townhomes.
say that question.
Good question.
Tim, what will work for you the best?
What kind of property?
Yeah.
You know, here's my principle. As long as my cat, it doesn't matter black and white, can catch a mouse, I raise it.
Okay.
My experience is 4-bedroom townhouse give you the maximum return. That's based on my rental history, based on the type of tenants, how long they stay. Most of my tenants are long-term tenants until I make them move. No, I help them move. I would help them move. But it only
He'll teach them how to date.
yeah. So it takes 4 years to get married. Anyway, at least in my principle, at least three bedroom and above, 2 bedroom and above. It's called bread and butter because for the people who rent 1 or 2 bedroom, once they have family, they move. And then these are the people who tend to be, different type of tenants. So 3 bedroom and 4 bedroom, even people need 2 bedroom or 3 bedroom, they don't mind have an extra room. So 4 bedroom, if you can get, again, your return. I get the tenants like living 4 bedroom house for 17 years. Longest one was 18 years. That's basically when I started. And then also I have a tenant 17 years, but I moved her from townhouse to the single family home because she was a good tenant. Section 8 tenants is a gold mine. Section 8 tenants at one time, I got at least $200,000 a year from the government. First of the month, money is there into your direct deposit. So wherever you are, money is there. If you want to keep Section 8 tenants because of the type of property that we bought, it's not the most expensive property. So usually in the Prince William County, Fairfax County, even a 2 bedroom will be sufficient to cover a 4 bedroom in not as like a transitional type of community. So if they have a 2 bedroom or 3 bedroom voucher, they always want, because Section 8 tenants, they always have a boyfriend somewhere, or they always have adult children somewhere. Okay, so even though on the paper I have 2 kids, but they always have adult kids, or somebody live with them, a guy somewhere. So 4 bedroom will give you the maximum amount if you want to keep the tenant long term. So for me, 4 bedroom works best. Right now I have, because again I'm kind of lazy, so half of the property I have there commercial. Commercial is triple net. So I own 2 hair salon, flower shop, Church. Yeah, and then the good thing about commercial is that they pay taxes, they pay whatever fees, and I don't do repair, it's triple net lease. The other half definitely has to be townhouse or single family. So I have another, townhouse, probably half townhouse, half single family. And single family, the appreciation is faster, but the amount of return may not be as good as a townhouse. And then if you have a turnover, then you need to worry about a loan and all these things. And so I think personally, I like the 4-bedroom townhouse. That is the one that I actually make the most money, and that's the one I get to keep the tenancy longest.
All right, good question.
Great, thank
And
you.
also, can I add to that?
Yes.
You're looking for the rental property where you can add value. For example, one bath and a half, you want to add another full bath. You make a 2 bath, or you make 3, likewise, unfinished basement. You can finish basement, that's where you add the value. I do that very easily. I can increase 10% value equity after I update it easier. That's what I'm looking for.
That's why the one I shared example, earlier I added another bathroom. Right? That's not expensive to add a bathroom if it's set up right, okay? So we have time for one more question. Yes?
Do you currently have any properties that are outside? I know you said you mainly do Manassas, but do you go look in other states for better deals, doing that kind of thing for properties?
For me,
Because the markets are different. in
right, I
states.
understand. For me, rule of thumb, I don't want to buy property more than 1 hour drive.
I still have 3 commercial in Baltimore. So that was because it's another story. 2004, before I start selling, I actually own a couple of commercial. My own company. I bought a couple of office warehouse, and one I sold it, and because it makes so much money, commercial, so I need to do 1031 exchange. So I went to Baltimore, and I also pick up a few there, because you sell one, you need to pick up several to offset the cost. And so, but I decided not to go into Baltimore just because the socioeconomic is totally different. The tenants is totally different. Commercial is okay. I have a convenience stores or whatever. They put a lot of money, so they don't. Otherwise, residential is very difficult. Otherwise, almost every single property in West Baltimore today, you can make 20, 25, 30% return. But the question is, are you willing to go into the area? Are you willing to go to the hassle? Also, if you want to own property, if possible, only in Virginia. Never own in DC?
No.
Never. Maryland is okay, but Maryland, if you want to go through the eviction process, it will take twice as long as Virginia. Even the foreclosure in Virginia is much faster. Yeah. So the best thing you need to remember is all the horrible story come from people on 1 or 2 properties. They just do it on the side. I have a full-time job. Tenant call me, cry, give me excuses. You don't guys do that. You need to treat it like a business. If you want to be able to be lazy, you treat it like a business. They don't pay. After 5 days, the 6-day, 5-day appeal has to be out. 11th day, they still don't pay. You go to the Manassas courthouse or you go to Fairfax courthouse. You file an unlawful detainer right away. Okay, and then you just go evict. Believe it or not, with the exception of my commercial tenants, most of my residential tenants, I didn't like the tenants with good credits. Because in my experiences, tenants with good credits, first of all, they're more picky. Second of all, they stay there 1-2 years and then they will turnover. One turnover, several $1,000 refreshing. So I never, but what I do is I always work with the people as long bankruptcy, divorce, or for some reason, one thing or another, people from other countries don't have credit. As long as they give me 2-month deposit, 2-month deposit, it has to come out with 2-month deposit and no eviction record, I work with them. And that's where my long-term tenants come from. Because you work with them, and then most likely, it will take a while for them to repair the credit. And I have a few tenants, after a few years, they repair credit for the house. I'm very happy for them. But most of the tenants, they never be able. So that's how we keep the long-term tenants. Because I calculate this way. Once you do the 5-day pay or quit on a 14 tenor, first week of the next month, you'll be able to evict it. Then so you're still 3 weeks ahead. And then of course, I have to say, try to be a real estate investor no matter what. First is the science. You need to get the number right, you need to get the approach right. After that is the art. So I do many things differently when I was younger. So I still like the people with not very good credit, and you basically are helping them because they go to the real estate agent, they go to the, big agency. Nobody take them. I have tenants. They spend over $500 application fee. They couldn't find anything.
So what kind of credit score is ideal? 600, 620?
We do the check, of course, everybody.
Okay.
Just 2 month deposit.
2 months deposit. That's your credit score.
2 month deposit. No eviction record. Reference of their landlord. And that's what I like. And
You can't be too, sorry, but I've got hundreds of properties, been doing this 30 years. He's absolutely right. If you go with, and some companies, and I instruct leasing classes for agents, and I was at NVAR for this big panel, and one of the guys says, well, it's very easy to get a good tenant. You just put in the MRS that they must make 100,000. So I said, okay, because I'm sitting where you were. And I said, okay, so I have one person that makes 100,000, his debt is 99.
yeah.
He's qualified? No, you can't do that. And you can't go with just the credit score. And it's a debt to income. It's a lot of pieces that have to go into this. And there are a lot of companies, you're right, I'm not one of them, but real estate companies that are really cut, this is it. If you don't fit in this shape, you're not going to get in. And that is not working in the best interest of the owner, because I have one fellow lives here in Haymarket. He was run over by a tank. God bless him. He can still walk and everything. And he came in the office and said, I've been turned down by 2 different companies. I need to rent this house, so I'm just giving you right up front. Right? And I said, okay, well, why were you turned down? He said, well, I was run over by a tank. I said, that stopped you? I said, you sound like you're a tough guy. And he said, well, here's the deal. He's getting $1,400 for disability for being run over by a tank. So I think he should get more than that, but that's what he's getting. And he wants to rent this house, it's $2,000. So it's pretty easy to know, okay, right? And I said, well, so I asked the one question nobody asked. Well, how are you going to pay rent and live? Because if you're only getting $1,400 and your rent's $2,000, right? And he says, well, I have $374,000 in the bank. I said, okay, when do you want to move in? I mean, he had an 800 credit score. I mean, all that was fine, but nobody would go past that step and just ask, well, how are you going to pay for it? I mean, it's a very simple question. And don't use pay or quit, because you're giving an option. They either pay or they quit the lease. There's a different one that you want to use.
No, 5-day pay or quit.
I know, you don't want that one. Because you're giving them an option. Either you have 5 days to pay it or you must quit the lease.
Yeah, but they have 2 month deposit. If they quit, it's even better because.
There's language that protects you better.
You said they quit even better.
I didn't look into that because I just use this and never had a problem. So that's the reason I keep using it. My lease is I bought it like 20 years ago.
Oh my
$15
God.
home attorney.
It changes every 6 months.
As long as it works and don't have any problems, still works. It's okay as long as because after a while, let me tell you this. It is very different mentality. I can tell you, when you don't have any loan, any mortgage, it's different.
Yeah.
I also changed my attitude toward my tenants. I used to be I never do that. And also, one thing I would like to share with you is the worst property I own, which is the only 3-bedroom, everything I have is 4 to 5 bedroom. The only 3-bedroom I own was usually the toughest to rent. So in my rental property, in the past, I want something the cheapest, the most easiest, whatever I can put in and I can get a rent, it's okay. Even because I bought it right, even I rented it a little bit lower, it's okay. I changed it a few years ago. For this property, after the tenant moved out, not a very good condition. I freshened it, painted a different color, nice designer color. I put in not the granite, but it's like a 12 by 12, but still granite. I bought brand new stainless steel appliances. And I raised the rent $200 above the market. And it rented so fast. Because everybody didn't expect to walk into this area, this house, and we see these kind of properties. So I raised that, and you get $2,400 extra, which will cover the incremental. You want to buy the all white appliances, and you just upgrade to stainless. You just probably pay additional $600-800.
Right.
And then the granite, if you're not a full piece granite, you just buy the individual pieces. Then you just do that. Yeah. Before we go, I really would like to give you one tip that will save you money right away. But go ahead. But I would like to, make sure you have pen and paper, because this is what I use to save money in the home improvement store. One day you become rehabber or whatever. If you need home improvement, I want you to be at least every 100,000, every 10,000 you spend, I want you to pay only no more than $7,500. You have to get at least 25% from the home improvement store. And this is, you can just do it tomorrow. Okay, so.
Just ask for discounts.
You just hit up the manager for that?
No,
Regular cashier, customer satisfaction.
no, right now the biggest discount is if you're military, whatever, or NAMIS has a good look discount. The most you saw was the 10%, right? 10% you hear, because that was the military or whatever special. Or do you have other question? I can't.
Well, actually, we're out of time, guys, but we can ask questions individually after what we're doing. That
No, let me give them 2 minutes. Okay. Because this is what you can do. How many people are looking to buy appliances or whatever soon or whatever? Okay. I'm going to use, let's say you want to spend $1,000 in the home improvement store. How do you get at least 25%? Actually, the actual percent you can get is about 27% to even 30%. Okay. Number one, you want to buy gift card. Okay, go to giftcardbranding.com or do the research. Right now I'm doing Lowe's because Home Depot you can probably only do about 10%, but Lowe's you can get up to 26-27%. Number one, Granny, or just research Lowe's discount gift card on the Google. Okay, and Lowe's usually go from 8% to about 15%, but average out about 10%. Okay, if it's a low season in the winter, you can get it for like 13.5, 14%. So you get 10% low discount. The gift card. Then you go to eBay. If you're not military and you don't have a 10% discount, I would like you to go to eBay and put Lowe's discount coupon, 10%. Two types of coupon I would like you to buy. If you have a small thing, you want to buy a bag of long bird feeder, buy the coupon that's $15 off 50. So that's $15 off 50, that's 30% basically. Okay, so it will cost you probably $1.25, but you save $15. But the big one, up to $5,000, you use Lowe's 10% gift card. And that will cost you about $1.50 to $2 a piece. But if you buy 5,000, it saves you $500. Okay, now let's do the math. If you have 1,000, I'm going to do it because I'm also going to throw you a tips that you can go. In addition to the 26-27%, if you are willing to do it today or in this coming month, you can get 4 round-trip tickets in the United States. I'm not selling anything. I'm just giving you a tip, but you have to have good credit on this one. Okay. Okay. Let me do 4,000. Somebody had a calculator. Okay. Say you want to buy $4,000 of gift card at 10%, okay? Let's say 10%.
400.
So you're going to get 4,000. If you want to write down 4,000 gift card divided by 0.9 is 4,444. Yes. So 4,444. So that's the gift card discount. So you can get $4,444 in gift card. Now when you buy the things, you get 10% coupon. 4,444 divided by 0.9. 4,938. So you basically can buy equivalent, even if you spend $4,000, you can buy $4,938 of merchandise from Lowe's.
Wow.
Now write down this ebates.com. ebates.com. If you know what you're buying, instead of going to the store, go to the ebates.com, get a link. They give you 1.5% to 3% cashback. Let's say 1.5%. So what happened was you had $4,938 worth of merchandise you can buy from the Lowe's, you get 1.5%, that's equivalent to $74, okay? $74. And because you use that 10% coupon, so your tax is based on after the discount, so you save 10% of
6%.
6% of the 10% of 4936, that give you $30 discount. So you save your cash $104, right? But your original cost was $4,000. You take out 104, that give you 3896. So if you use 4938 divided by 3896, should give you 26 point something return. So that means you save 26 point some percent. Okay, so this is, even whatever you do, you must do this because it saves you 26, and then eventually
In your personal life, outside of business.
yeah, because when I was selling the property, what I do was I buy materials. My contractor would go with me to buy materials, and I've been saving. You know, sometimes I have 50,000, 70,000. Just imagine 50,000, 20, just 25% is 12,500. I say.
Wow.
Okay. Now the reason I use 4,000 is because today, if you have 4,000, you have good credit. I would like you to how many people own Chase Sapphire credit card?
Chase, Sapphire.
Chase Sapphire, okay. So go to Chase Mileage Plus or United Chase, whatever other mileage. But this deal is, if you don't own a Chase Sapphire and you have relatively good credit, I would like you to Google it and research. Right now they have a promotion. You spend $4,000, they will give you 50,000 points. And then if you put another person in your car, both of you use it within 3 months, you get additional 5,000. So that's 55,000 points. What I do is I apply for it, I use my Chinese name, and I use my English name. and I fill it right away. But you have to use them physically in 3 months. So this is what you do. You apply for the Chase card, and then immediately you buy $4,000 worth of Lowe's gift card. Okay, Lowe's gift card. And then the 55,000 points, you want to sign up with Southwest Airlines. Because what they do is, if you take cash, they will give you $550. Okay, or if you book travel through the Chase, you will get 1.25%. So 50 will be 6,025 every 50,000 points. But the best thing is, if you go to Southwest, you'll be able to book one trip anywhere in the U.S., Seattle, San Francisco, or Los Angeles, Las Vegas. You can book one trip with that, plus one mid-range trip to Chicago, to Boston, Miami. So that will give you 2 on each. 2 tickets to the West Coast, 2 tickets in the mid-range. So that's basically 4 tickets. Or if you're United Mileage, you can transfer to United Mileage. It's 25,000 miles. Or if you like, based on distance, go to British Airways. Because we travel as British Airways, they based on distance. So instead of spending a lot of money, you go to New York, it's only 7,500 points. Okay? So that's 4. So if you have $4,000 and then you have good credit, you have to do it.
So in summary, you can buy appliances, travel across the United States, buy rental properties, and date for 4 years. All right?
That's like 26.7%.
While dating.
Finally, very, very important tip, very important tip. The 4,000 gift card could come from different sources. So in your hand, it will be 15 gift card. Sometimes the gift card is no good. Or they only guarantee for 90 days. Solution? When you get this 4,000, basically you want to get $4,444 in gift card. I want you to go online, immediately, you don't need to do 10% or anything. Immediately buy the most expensive appliances that are worth $400 some. Okay? and you should give card, pay for it, pay for everything. And then make the delivery day 1 month from now. 2 days later, walk into the store, tell the manager, my plan changed, I want a refund. So they will give you the store merchandise credit. So your gift card is safe.
All right, guys, get around. We're going to go ahead and conclude with a couple of things here, but before I do that, I want to mention, you have to go ahead and
Okay.
proceed. Thank you very much. All right, this slide. We have a wholesale, give a round of applause again, okay? This Saturday, guys, we do boot camps once a quarter, and each quarter we do a different topic. This weekend coming up, we're doing a wholesale boot camp. The last day to register is tonight. My daughter will be passing out the flyers really quick before she takes a picture. But basically what wholesaling is being able to invest in real estate risk-free. All right? Risk-free. You guys will talk about dating later, okay? I know you guys all right, we're going to teach about marketing strategies, negotiating how to write a contract and get templates and access to our stuff. Average $10,000 per deal. Learning how to build a network of buyers selling your contract. And so basically, if you're a brand new investor with you don't want to risk any money, this is the way to get started. All right, I started as a rehabber, but I learned wholesaling later on. It's great to learn how to wholesale because it's quick cash right now. You don't have to wait for the project to finish to make money. All right, you're how to post different access to a vendor, food and brush. How much is this class? $6.99. And to add insult to injury, this $6.99 covers both you and a spouse, but is refunded after you do a deal with us, Fortune Homes. All right, so my business card is right here. All right, so we already have a pretty decent-sized class, but we have a few more seats still open. If you guys are still interested, are registering tonight. My daughter will be passing on the flyer. She can register you guys tonight. And to prove to you guys that this works, about 3 months ago, we had a rehabbing boot camp. And we have a gentleman here who about 90 days ago took the boot camp. Shortly after, was able to get his first deal. Now that rehabbing boot camp was $14.99 because it was 2 days. This is a 1-day boot camp. All right, he's getting his refund tonight. All right, Mr. Matthew Wallstrom, please give him a round of applause. Come on up, sir. He's going to share a quick story, all right, on how he did his stuff, and we'll go from there.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, so I actually met through Rob Chavez, who really got him started as well when I was with Keller Williams.
And if we could take a picture, we can hand you the check. Okay? Shake your hand. All right, give you a check, you can take it.
Oh, thank you.
It's nice first time.
I always want a photo
All
like
right.
that. But I spent like a good 6 months probably just, engulfing myself in everything about rehabbing properties that I possibly could, bigger podcasts, like you name it. And so when Rob was kind of mentoring me a little bit, he really said, hey, this is this boot camp that you need to do. It's probably going to, seal the deal and help you get started. And he was absolutely right because it for me personally, it was really confirming a lot of what I thought to be true and what I thought I knew or didn't know. And so that was huge. And then being able to go on site and see some of the houses. So it was a huge push. And then ultimately, it also connected me with certain vendors like Washington Capital Partners, who I used as our hard money lender for our first deal. So kind of just getting in with that network and that support system was huge. And using the deal analyzer that I got as well was just incredible because, as you know, it's all just about sticking to your numbers. So you can really make anything work. If you can make the numbers work, you can make it work in kind of anywhere. So I am very fortunate as well because my partner is a contractor. So we sort of have this whole property brothers kind of setup, which I will tell you that, I know like the majority of people that I know that rehab homes don't have that. And I'm impressed because of the amount of money they probably spend on realtor fees and contractor fees and things like that. So we're very fortunate in that, and we have a very awesome setup. And so we probably analyze 30 deals at least before pulling the trigger on our first one, which was really tiring. But for me, I was very excited to do it because I felt like this was mastering and kind of honing in on my craft, and gave us an opportunity to look at it from an intellectual numbers perspective and not make emotional decisions. So it was, going to it, and after a while you had to be very sort of diligent and in sticking to that because I felt like after deal number 20 of looking at it, I was trying to just convince myself that this is totally fine, And I think the worst example with a little story that I can give you is we almost picked up a house in Southeast DC. And we went to it like 3 times, and we're like, all right, this is gonna be the one, we're gonna do it, it's fine. Like, the neighborhood's fine. Those guys over there deal drugs, it's fine. And we went to the house to do kind of like a final walkthrough, and I saw like bullet holes on the house, and it was somewhat concerning. And we go inside and we're looking around, and after kind of like, I guess just being jaded of not really paying attention, we noticed there was like blood smear on the ground, and then the neighbor happened to be there, and so we had the opportunity to speak to her, and we're like, what happened in here? Because that doesn't look like fruit punch, like what's going on? And she said, oh yeah, he died. And we're like, well, okay, but like when or how? She's like, oh, like a month ago, he was murdered. And we're like, and I said, well, it was nice talking to you. I'll see you later. It was just, crazy. And even to that process, I started to go, okay, we have to not try to justify things and have to not, just force this, and it has to just be organic and natural. And so it was a good thing that we did that, because long story short, we spent a lot of time looking at Alexandria, which in my opinion was a fantastic place, because they don't build a lot of single family homes there anymore. So you have an opportunity to pick up these like Rambler style houses, and yet the ARV values are incredible. So, and most people, they look for that location, and where else can you get this new construction type of, house in that proximity without buying new construction and getting killed on the price. So, so the deal that we picked up was in Alexandria. We paid $405 for it. We thought we were going to do a lipstick makeover. Turns out it was a full-fledged renovation, which was kind of cool to just get thrown in the fire and do this for the first time. So $100,000 renovation. Tomorrow will be the 1 month mark for the house. We've already passed all of our inspections. Drywall's gone up today. And we're having our brokers open a huge party on September 9th. So it'll be on the market by then. And probably 650, 660, so we'll probably end up with like 120,000 profit on that one property. So yeah, so it's been exciting and fun, and now we're looking at student housing and multifamily.
All right.
So yeah.
Good stuff. You're on board, guys. And one more thing, guys. Each one of our students who gets their check back gets a special card with their picture on it. All right? By the way, this is a picture of you and your wife, okay? Jessica and Matthew. It says, congratulations to Matthew and Jessica Wallstrom. This card certifies that the mentioned person is an alumni of Fortune Homes Rehab and Boot Camp and have received their refund. So they cannot ask for another one, all right? All right. So Matthew had a model story. He went through, looked at a lot of deals, analyzed 30, went to several, didn't work out. Got kind of burnt out a little bit, but still kept at it, and finally found the right one after a decent amount of experience of what to look for. No blood stains, right? No bullet holes, okay, things like that. Because you cannot be able to say a good deal until you look at enough of them. Does that make sense, guys? All right. You got to ride your bike with training wheels before you take the training wheels off. Okay. So with that, so congratulations. So it's been 3 months. Is that correct? So 3 months after boot camp, he got his first deal. Yeah. Is that a good time frame? Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So you guys have any questions? He's going to be here. Feel free to give him a shout out, congratulate him, give him a handshake, talk to him, see what he did, so that way it'll inspire you guys to do the same thing. Okay. But the first step, if you guys have not taken our boot camp yet, and have not done a deal, I encourage you to take it. $6.99. I mean, there are other companies out there who charge $10,000 for teaching what we teach, and they force you to go to different places around the country to learn more things. All right. I recently went to a class a few months ago where they paid $1,500 for a 3-day boot camp. Half the class, they tried to sell me on the next class, which was $85,000. All right. And if you sign up today, it's only $35. But you look at the curriculum, it said, okay, you have coaching, you have this, you have this. There's like all these trainings throughout the year. When on earth do I have time to do a deal? Right? The biggest mistake that people do is that they get to a cyclical cycle, a cycle of constant training with no action. What we will give you is just enough for you to take action, but not too much where it overwhelms you. Does that make sense? So a lot of folks, actually, one of my students said, Nyan, can I please get access to your, refer me to a CPA? I said, why? He said, well, I need to talk to him about this. I said, have you done a deal yet? No. I said, don't mess with him. Get a deal done, then talk to a CPA. You have no money made yet, right? So don't get ahead of the stuff. Focus on getting your deal, all right, and then take action, get your first success story, then I'll tell you who my CPA is. Does that make sense, guys? Everything's very sequential. Don't get it out of order because we get stuck in this over paralysis analysis thing. All right? So, guys, if you guys don't have a business card, I have them up here. I'll be here to answer their questions, but we're going to go to close the event now and go into our networking portion. So get your business cards out. We'll have a good time networking, and you guys want to get registered for the boot camp, see my daughter in the registration table. All right? Thank you, guys.